Welcome to Hunter Beyond Time and Space Chapter 24. The Center of the World. It was quiet in the prison, and everyone had a vague idea that the bald man Guo-Hu-chan would have some friction with Uncle Li after he entered, so everyone wanted to see what would happen. At this moment, Guo-Hu-chan followed everyone's gaze and headed straight for Li Shuthong. He said in a loud voice, "There's no need to beat around the bush. I'm here for the ACE-005 forbidden item. You tell me where it's being kept in the prison, and I'll take it and leave." Li Shuthong patted the big cat, indicating for it to go to the side, and then smiled warmly. When dealing with seniors, it's better to be polite so as not to suffer losses. Guo-Hu-chan didn't care and said, "If you give me the ACE-005 forbidden item, I'll naturally be more polite to you." Li Shuthong was curious, why is the Black Spade suddenly interested in the forbidden item? From the way you speak, I thought you had joined the forbidden judges. Guo-Hu-chan slowly stood 5 meters away from Li Shuthong and said, "Black Spade wants to fight against those behemoths, so we can't pass up any assistance. Your night organization shares the same goal as us, so you should understand our situation." Li Shuthong smiled. "But why did you come to find the forbidden item in cell 18 first? Rumors say that the Qin Corporation made an agreement with you. If you can contain and suppress it, they will give you absolute freedom in cell 18. Moreover, the forbidden item you personally contain and suppress will be especially powerful," Guo-Hu-chan said. "You've misunderstood. I haven't made any deals with the Qin Corporation," Li Shuthong patiently explained. "Don't make judgments based on hearsay." Qin Chen listened quietly. The last time he saw the words, "forbidden judges," was in a guide video by He Xiaoxiao. The forbidden judges seemed to exist specifically for forbidden items. He realized that the forbidden item Guo-Hu-chan was talking about might be the thing he came to find, which might be his test task in the shadow struggle. At this moment, Guo-Hu-chan took another step forward and asked, "Where is ACE-005? Li Shuthong shook his head, "I know, but I won't tell you." "Why?" Guo-Hu-chan took another step forward. The totem tattoo on his body seemed to come alive, with the twisting and changing pattern moving wildly. With a thud, everyone felt the ground tremble slightly as he took that step. Li Shuthong smiled, "There's no reason. It's just that I like ACE-005. Over 3,000 prisoners began to riot. They had been suffocating in cell 18 for too long, and they were watched by the guards everywhere they went. The invisible order was like shackles binding everyone. But now, it was a long-awaited chaos. 72 metal storms in the steel sky began to rotate rapidly, with 36 of them starting to move. The prisoners exclaimed. In the past, they had to riot for at least half an hour before the metal storms would start up after the mechanical guards lost control of the situation. But this time was different. They started up before the prisoners could even riot. At this moment, except for Li Shuthong and Guo-Hu-chan in the center of the vortex, Qin Chen was the only one wholeheartedly looking up at the steel sky. No one noticed that he took a few steps back in the chaos and then turned to walk in another direction. In an instant, Guo-Hu-chan punched forward like an arrow, and his fist, like a bronze bell, rushed towards Li Shuthong's face with thundering force. The gun barrels of the metal storms moved along with his fist, and for a moment, 36 cold machines began to fire rubber bullets, suppressing all the prisoners in cell 18 with unrelenting firepower. Not metal bullets, but rubber bullets. These 36 metal storms were purely for suppression, while the other 36 were the real killing machines. Rubber bullets rained down like a downpour, and the prisoners were knocked over. Guo-Hu-chan's fist was like thunder, and thunder rumbled in cell 18. But in the next instant, his fist suddenly stopped, and Li Shuthong's hand, full of smiles, stopped the thundering punch. Li Shuthong stood still in front of Guo-Hu-chan, as stable as a mountain. He turned around to see if Qin Chen was okay. After all, this youth was different from them and was just an ordinary person. But Li Shutong suddenly froze. Because Qin Chen, 2 meters behind him, was sitting calmly at the table where he usually played chess. The only blind spot for shooting in cell 18. Rain poured down. But not a single drop fell on the boy. It was as if the boy was the center of the world. The black rain from the steel sky gradually stopped. Except for Qin Chen, Yi Wan, Guo Huchan, Li Shutong, and Lin Xiaoxiao, all the prisoners were painfully holding their heads and lying on the ground. Everyone was in pain. Some people were hit by the metal storm and had bruises on their faces because they were slow in lying down. Compared with the misery of these people, Qin Chen, who sat calmly at the dining table, had a detached and ethereal temperament. For some reason, Li Shutong always felt that he had only known this young man for a few days, but he liked him more and more as he looked at him. The other party's mentality and ability are not something that peers can possess. Is this the shadow that the Qin family will choose? When can they find such a successor on their side? At this point, he pushed Guo Huchan's fist away with his palm, and although the movement seemed casual, Guo Huchan's figure directly retreated 5 or 6 meters before barely standing still. Guo Huchan didn't act recklessly anymore, but sat on the spot to adjust his breath. Throughout the entire fight, he had only made the white training suit on the opponent's body sway a few times. There have always been rumors that Li Shutong could be called a half-god in his time. However, the opponent's fame has been a long time ago, so young masters like Guo Huchan have not seen him with their own eyes. This time, the Black Spades organization sent him to prison number 18 to find the ACE-005 banned substance and to see Li Shutong's current strength. Now Guo Huchan has realized that the gap between himself and Li Shutong is still like a chasm. Li Shutong moved his gaze away from Qin Chen and turned to Guo Huchan with a smile. Do you still want to fight? The bald man whose totems had returned to calm said in a barrel voice, no need to fight anymore. What's the point of fighting if we can't win? Don't worry, even if you don't tell me, I can still find the ACE-005 banned substance. Qin Chen felt that the bald man was interesting. Just now, they were fighting to the death, and now they suddenly surrendered. The opponent didn't look so fierce, and became a single guy after the fight. The change in attitude before and after was a bit big. However, Guo Huchan was thinking that since Li Shutong knew the location of the banned substance, he would follow him. What if he accidentally revealed something? It's okay, take your time, Li Shutong nodded nonchalantly. He ignored Guo Huchan and sat down opposite Qin Chen's table. Did you calculate this position? Qin Chen shook his head. Although my calculation ability is much stronger than an ordinary person, I can't currently handle such a huge ballistic calculation, so I can only guess. Li Shutong also shook his head. A rough guess is not enough to support your precise finding of this position. A brief calculation allowed me to lock in on 4 areas, and your daily sitting position happened to be within these options, so the rest didn't need to be calculated, Qin Chen said calmly. Qin Chen was gambling by sitting here, but he had guessed correctly. He has always been good at making choices based on probability and judgment.